Welcome once again to Global Reports on Liberty Television here at our Kaduna Studios. Welcome, I am Arthur Brooks, by the way. Welcome to our viewers across Nigeria, in West Africa, on Star Times and other networks, and welcome to our viewers watching us live, streaming on the internet, on Facebook and YouTube. As usual, we follow the most trending and popular news stories from around the globe from the past 1 week. Our guest this week is once again Professor Dikwa from the university. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Item 1, we're going to England, where the British Prime Minister, Mrs. Theresa May, has concluded an interim agreement with the European Union on Britain's exit from the European Union, otherwise known as Brexit. Watch this short report.
So here comes Theresa May, and we will listen to what she has to say.
Throughout these difficult and complex negotiations with the European Union, I have had one goal in mind: to honour the vote of the British people and deliver a good Brexit deal. Last week we achieved a decisive breakthrough when we agreed with the European Commission the terms for our smooth and orderly exit from the EU. Alongside that withdrawal agreement, we published an outline political declaration setting out the framework for our future relationship. Last night in Brussels, I had a good detailed discussion with President Juncker, in which I set out what was needed in that political declaration to deliver for the United Kingdom. We tasked our negotiating teams to continue working overnight, and as a result, the text of that declaration has been agreed between the European Union and the United Kingdom. I've just updated the Cabinet on progress, and I'll be making a statement to the House of Commons later this afternoon. This is the right deal for the UK. It delivers on the vote of the referendum. It brings back control of our borders, our money and our laws, and it does so while protecting jobs, protecting our security, and protecting the integrity of the United Kingdom. The agreement we've reached is between the UK and the European Commission. It is now up to the 27 leaders of the other EU member states to examine this agreement in the days leading up to the special EU Council meeting on Sunday. I will be speaking to my counterparts over that time, including meeting Chancellor Kurz of Austria here in Downing Street later today. Last night I spoke to the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, and I'm confident that on Sunday we'll be able to agree a deal that delivers for the whole UK family, including Gibraltar. On Saturday I will return to Brussels for further meeting with President Juncker, where we will discuss how to bring this process to a conclusion in the interests of all our people. The British people want this to be settled. They want a good deal that sets us on course for a brighter future. That deal is within our grasp, and I am determined to deliver it.
We brought you that report from BBC World Service. Well, that's one step Britain has made towards, one further step towards its, shall I say, its divorce from the European Union, which has been very hotly contested by some people hotly in favour of it, some people not. So it will continue to be a debate for the near future. Even the President of the United States said it was not a good idea. I think he's listening to some of the people in UK who want a total removal of UK from the European Union. Prof, do you have any opinions on this?
Frankly, this is like, I would like to toe the line of the opposition leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn. Then it is not a deal at all. There's nothing new about it. It is just, I say it from the broader perspective that democracy is now having its real definition, the original Greek definition of people having their way. So they never expected the people to now defeat the establishment in Britain. They never expected Brexit to take the day. The same thing in America, the establishment, by the way, they are just less than 1%. They were defeated through Donald Trump. The same thing in France, people decided to go. So it is just the same way in which they say by subsequently a country like Nigeria, one day say a small party that has no influence and so on, like a PRP, one day taking the day and so on. It is now having, the real people now are fed up with the establishment, the same people spread over the leading parties, and the same deceit, it goes on. So it is now Britain cannot have its own
dissatisfaction.
Yes, dissatisfaction with all the political elite. So Britain cannot have its own cake and then and have it. It is not possible. It is not possible. It is either way. So Britain in the first place refused to even go with the common currency.
Well, Britain was an unwilling partner in
non-willing.
Never went with the
never
currency.
Went. That's due to the pressure from America, basically. America never contemplated having another currency competing with the dollar. So Britain also maintained its pound. In truth, is that it is now revolution. It is about telling the people, debating the issues rather than harassing them by military and so on, the way in the past. So Britain cannot go away and expect the same facilities like communication, sharing data on information, on security, having the same to be part of the custom union in terms of pricing and tariffing.
If you decide to leave a club, you can't expect to have the facilities of the club.
So even if Britain goes after each of the 26 members of the EU, it cannot be as good as European Union, where it has the second best.
Second best economy after Germany. But I think what's happening is the European Union is getting nervous that once Britain pulls out, other countries are already considering it, like Italy.
Yes. So European Union is not going to make it easy for Britain to pull out. It will always pull Britain to frustrate it to the extent that Britain will say, this deal, let us have another referendum, then to remain with Europe.
Which is still possible.
It is possible.
Politically.
Because now with the Brexit and so on, the people themselves saw the advantages or otherwise of remaining in European Union or outside. So the likelihood is that there may be another referendum. And you see, this particular populist idea of people doing the thing has already divided even the ruling party.
Even the ruling party.
Yes, the conservatives.
How many ministers have resigned?
Exactly, many. It's a real scandalous thing.
And they're even working towards unseating the Prime Minister.
Exactly, unseating the Prime Minister.
They
don't mind having the opposition.
Polarized,
well, really polarized. They don't mind having the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, to be the Prime Minister. They don't mind it. The same thing in America, where the Republicans are now split into more than two. It is no longer, they are no longer going to have it their day. Even if tomorrow President Trump is out of power and so on, it is going to be very difficult for European countries now to have America, to trust America as a leader.
Of course,
Now they will deal in such a way that when they have a meeting of European Union, the way America is invited to be part of it, they are likely to invite Russia and China to be also there.
So no longer America will dominate.
No longer it is either with us or with them. It is now the real village, the world village is now there. It is about just talking. So
well, as you've said earlier in other programs, it is, in a way, the whole ideology is changing, the whole opinions of people are changing, maybe for the better in many ways, even though it's going through hard times, like the radicalism of Donald Trump and the arrogant attitude of Donald Trump. But it's changing people's attitudes. Which is good. People are thinking,
indirectly, well, it's a blessing in disguise. He is saying things that used to be said behind closed doors. That's ridiculous.
Well, we move on to back into Nigeria, and I think it's something like 80 days to the elections.
Yes.
And up in the northeast, which is still divided and fragmented, the INEC are going ahead to organise the electioneering process. Just watch this report from Chinese television.
CGTN.
Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, one of the states in the northeast. Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, one of the states in the northeast. Yobe and Adamawa are the other two states in the region, all ravaged by 9-year-old Boko Haram's insurgency. Vast territories previously controlled by Boko Haram have been retaken from the insurgents. The government says the region is in post-conflict situation, but bloody attacks by Boko Haram have persisted. And most rural areas where potential voters are returning to are still inaccessible. But Nigeria's Electoral Commission says the conditions will not deter the conduct of elections in the northeast.
That's the provisional report, which I think will be submitted soon to the Commission, and the Commission will look at that and fine-tuning the template that was used in 2014, 2015. So we're in good state in that regards as well. It was done before, it's done in an improved manner this time around.
Escalating Boko Haram attacks forced the Commission to postpone the 2015 elections by 2 months after the military said it could not guarantee the safety of polling stations. Even when elections were later conducted, foreign observers citing security concerns stayed away from the region. The Northeast has close to 10 million voters, some of them still in IDP camps, while others have been returning to their original homes.
But it's not just targeting the camps, they're targeting all internally displaced persons. Well, not all internally displaced persons are in camps. So we also have a template. The template will cover those who are with relatives or living off camps, as it were.
The February elections in the Northeast is the second to be held under extreme security threat from Boko Haram. The Commission may succeed in holding elections in those areas, but the outcome may be far from credible, as candidates may find it difficult to canvass for votes in the area. That's besides adequate voter education, monitoring, and the actual conduct of elections. Kelechi Emekalam, CGTN Abuja, Nigeria.
Yeah, you see, this elections are not going to be easy in the northeast. I'm sorry. Already the impetus from Boko Haram. We've had the incidents in the recent days where 70 of our soldiers were killed in barracks at Matele, quite near the Chad border. Prof, what do you think?
You know, this war is asymmetric. It is not the conventional war where you face each other with different insignia in the military and so on. Boko Haram will always try to be ahead of others, and the thing is, based on what I've been saying for long, that anytime election is approaching, when you take the same scenario in other places where insurgency was created for them, like Afghanistan, Pakistan, you have Somalia and so on, when elections approach, they will try to distract the election. And this is a situation in which now insurgency with a different name, it is the Boko Haram that is the same ideology created and fueled by petrodollars of the Arab countries, which saw the imposition insurgency was imposed on them, and they were forced to even pay to sponsor them to destroy other countries just in the name of regional superiority, and so on, in Syria, Iraq, and so on, anywhere. So, and in the case of Saudi Arabia, it was made to even change its educational curriculum to impose the hard view, the intolerant view of
it's what they call
Salafism and so on, and Wahhabism.
Yes.
And so it is, if it is, you are not with their own ideology, it is just a way of saying you are better dead and so on. These are all concocted by foreign intelligence and imposed on Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and other to others. Now they are dislodged from Iraq, Syria, and so on. They are now looking for a place now to move on. So unless Nigeria has a real air power, that is, again, say, removing rivalry between the security agencies, they should. Mr. President, who was there this morning in Maiduguri and at the summit of Army Chief, he used a very soft language but said very hard things about it. It is now about saying open a full-blown war to decimate it with serious air power. Under no circumstance will insurgents move from distance of over 100 kilometers to go destroy and then go back. For instance, in the case of Zamfara, you have it. In the case of Baga, and in Metele, and so on. So what is the use of our satellite, Niger Sat? So ICT must be there. If you have made in a situation where all border towns, the people at border towns are made to feel the sense of belonging, then there is likelihood that they will reject it. But today they have virtually nothing, and insurgency Boko Haram finds money from outside and gives them soft loans. That is in order to woo them into their cycle. And by the way, if you are living there, you are forced to support them in a way, a government within a government. So they have no choice, otherwise they will be dealt with. So in this situation, it means Nigeria has to play a better politics than the Boko Haram.
Well, what are you saying, that there are players within the governments or within the state governments?
I suspect that within the government and within the army there are moles who are now playing for the. Otherwise, under no circumstances, we will say we will lose tens of our military.
No, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's not like our men are not trained.
These are trained people. And it is very painful, and it is a real blow to us. The other time in Guzamala, again, the same environment,
same thing,
they were ambushed. So it means there are moles within the system. The same thing, another commander along Bama Road moved our military and then gave them different insignia and moved them into the hands of they got killed by similar military and so on. The same thing. So it means the army itself must look inward for its moles, and that must be held accountable. If anything, any one soul dies the way we lost Colonel Abu Ali in the past, the commander must be held accountable and court-martialed.
Well, there's been so many efforts. The president moved the chiefs of staff up to the areas almost 4 years ago or so.
It is not enough. You must lead from the front. It means anything happening, the president or the vice president or the senate president and the governors must be there in order to hear from the people, from the file and rank, what is the problem. Well, and again, the money being said, they say money meant for defense and so on. You just hear that appropriated, but the releases are not the same. So it means the Ministry of Finance and so on are not giving it because the military, the police and so on do not have the right to complain openly. They are not getting the money even if appropriated.
But the soldiers on the ground were complaining recently publicly.
These are people who decided to just forego their own comfort for our own safety for us to sleep with both eyes shut. So this is, in terms of security, we must just get rid of politics. Nobody should play politics with it. And whatever they need must be provided to them, and then they too must account for the money.
We've been saying this for the last 9 years or more.
9 years, from 2009, and the same thing.
Even before.
And when close to ending it, then they just relax.
Yeah.
So who is making them to relax?
Yeah.
Who is making them to relax? It means there are malls, there are insurgents, and that it is now made like a automated transfer of money, ATM, for some officers to make money, some politicians to make money out of it. And that the more they have IDPs and so on, the more donations come, and then for them to share at the expense of the people. People die while a few are making money.
Yeah.
So it means
people are homeless. All regions.
So how many of them have their
destroyed?
PVCs now?
Yeah.
Because they are IDPs, they don't even feed.
Yeah.
Where would they, even those who registered in the past, they don't know where their PVCs are.
Yeah.
So they are just put there in the northeast. When elections come, in the any figure can be concocted as being the voters and so on. So it means no real election take place. So the governor will maintain his party, and that it is just a monoparty, one party there. For instance, you can continue to say Gombe remains PDP, Borno remains APC, with virtually nobody powerful in the opposition. The same thing with UOB and so on. So it is just like a cash cow.
Yeah.
Insurgency is a cash cow, and that I would like to say, Mr. President, he said he hit the nail on the head, but more things will come. That you as chief executives and state security bosses of your state, if these things do not stop, it is likely that I will declare a state of emergency, remove you, and then give it to the military to finish off with the Boko Haram. That threat, if it doesn't come, they will continue to use it.
Well, we're coming to the closing days of the first...
it is just 79 days to election.
79 days to election.
So the closer we get to election, the more bombardment, the bombing and so on from insurgents will come. Just with the same scenario in Afghanistan and other places in order to distract. So I dare say that if leaders feel comfortable in Abuja and it will not reach them, then they are wrong, because they can even move to Abuja if it is not curtailed there. They have something for West Africa, they call it Islamic State. There is nothing Islamic about it as long as they kill the innocent, as long as they kill the non-combatant and so on. There is nothing Islamic, and it is just a deceit to give it Islamic name and so on. So this is part of the treachery in the world.
Yeah, but I thought there was they were doing more combination of the troops of Cameroon and Chad and Niger.
It is not going to be possible, Arthur. It is not going to be possible without President sent the Minister of Defense to Chad. It is not enough without involving France. It must be a situation in which Nigeria should have a tete-a-tete with France with evidence that...
But have we not been doing this?
They are French, they are just lax. These are people who just do eye service, they don't go seriously with it. And everybody knows companies from France and so on have been doing the thing around Lake Chad for years. And then I'm twisting the ex-colonies not to cooperate with Nigeria. So unless France is now brought to the table, say, come on, this thing should stop. We know these are the evidence and so on we have. So we have to stop it. That's diplomatically one-on-one. If it doesn't work that way, Nigeria has the right now to complain to European Union and even to United Nations to say, talk to France to now leave Nigeria and her neighbors
But
alone.
of course,
to
it looks like Nigeria receives the brunt of the problem.
Yes,
And-
and France deliberately created a Sahara thing in Mali, and now in order to distract Chad, that Chad is the best in terms of asymmetric war because they came from it.
And
Under Hussein Abre,
south.
and the first revolutionary man was Ibrahim Abacha.
Yeah.
Then we have Hussein Abre. All France had a hand in it. Then Gokeni was there and so on. So if France is not made to now to change its foreign policy, it does not work with Nigeria talking to Cameroon alone, talking to Chad, or talking to Niger. Chad is the best, and then Chadian leaders may be now invited to train our own. To train our own. We just have to swallow our pride, invite them because they know this. They have been into it.
Yeah.
So let Nigeria should talk to France because people like us know it.
Yeah.
We know it. If we are outside, we know how France does its things behind the scene and so on. So it is more of the politics, diplomacy, and economy. France cannot survive without twisting its own francophone countries for its own economy.
It looks like a problem which is not going away very soon.
It's not going away very soon.
Let's hope our president is able to muster forces and do something.
I want us to be working 24/7. It is a serious matter because they will just distract, harass, and then frighten people from even going to election based on what happened in 2011 and 2015.
Okay,
so they may harass us, and 79
time is against us once
79
again.
days to election, unless we sit up, this election may not hold.
Well, time will tell. Maybe as we do more programs, getting near to the election, we hope to see some things getting better, at least in this area.
We are hopeful, but then we have to be practical. We have to try it. Hold France accountable. Take the complaints to European Union, to United Nations, and so on for France to live.
Not very effective in
not
those
effective
areas
yet, but the noise can be made very louder.
So thanks again to my guests. Prof, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our cameraman, the crew in the control room, and the Global Reports production team. Thank you very much. This is me, Arthur Brooks, signing out for another week. Have a fantastic week and join us again on Liberty Television and keep watching Liberty Television.
It's not just about the individual news item, it's all about what's behind the news story. What went on before, now and after.
We report today not from Kaduna, Nigeria, but from Liverpool in the United Kingdom. Slavery Museum in Liverpool. Dr. Benjamin.
No personal attack on candidates.
Okay, thank you very much. Great TV Liverpool. I'm here with Chris Kerr, who is one of the team that runs this remarkable little station.
My background is that I'd spent quite a lot of time working for Bernardo Television as a reporter and producer, and I lived in Liverpool for most of my life, and I've had a very strong interest in doing something in the way of more local television, more than the regional service which Bernardo and the BBC offer.
This is Arthur Brooks signing off from Liberty Global Reports, and have a very good week. Thank you, Saidu, for coming on the programme.
My pleasure.
And please check out our Facebook page.